As I was saying earlier, the properties in the northwest, three of the properties I saw, and I've seen about eight, were repossessed recently. And I asked the agent, was this a growing trend? And he said yes. Certainly in the last year or so, he has seen more repossessions, and he expects it to grow as interest rates go up, costs of everything go up. We're into double-digit 10% inflation now, as you know, if you've listened to my previous podcast. So that's not going to help. And the Bank of England say we're heading for 13% interest rates, and the country is heading into recession. So we're going to see more people in problems. Now, interest rates going up doesn't immediately affect your mortgage, obviously, if you're on a fixed rate, and 75% of mortgages are on fixed rates, but it will hit people when they come to the end of that fixed rate and then they are planning to renew, and then they're going to get a bit of a nasty shock. So it will be interesting to see if we go back to the days when I've seen in the 90s, where I saw a lot of people, end of 80s, early 90s, a lot of people repossessed, a lot of people made bankrupt as the economy went down and interest rates went up. So it will be interesting to see what's happening. I was listening to something about food banks recently, that there are actually more food banks in the country than McDonald's. There are 1,400 official food banks plus 1,200 not linked to the food bank by the Trussell Trust. So, you're looking at 2,500 food banks all over the country, and they're all reporting an upsurge in the number of people that have coming to them for help. So a lot of people there are in trouble. Having said that, there are a lot of people there who've got money and are not in trouble. The houses are still selling. Houses are still creeping up in most areas. The stock market seems high, and people are going on holiday. I mean, I'm in a holiday area here, and there's lots of people about. So it's not all doom and gloom. Some people will always have money, and some people, unfortunately, will not. But you're seeing this people in the middle, sometimes working people, nurses, teachers, that sort of thing. They are really being squeezed now, and it's those sort of people that are actually now going to more and more to food banks and are struggling with their bills. It always seems to be the people in the middle. The rich can get away with it, the poor just sort of, grim and bear it. But the people in the middle who are trying to pay their mortgages and buy their own properties and do everything right, they are really being squeezed. So I've seen a number of properties today, ranging from 80 odd thousand for 2 or 3 bed houses. Some need a lot of work. One I saw, the roof was nearly falling off. It slid down. It was sort of coming down over the front window. So I'm going to give that one a miss. That needs a lot of work. I also saw a house that could easily be a number of apartments. It's situated in a road with lots of hotels and guest houses. So it's a huge big place, but it needs a fortune spent on it. £80,000 this house, but it probably needs 100,000 spent on it just to bring it up to spec, let alone if you were going to convert it into flats or holiday flats. Lots of developments of holiday flats around as well. Lots of people developing holiday flats, so that's an interesting trend as well. And so there's lots going on, and regeneration of parts of the north. We've seen this government levelling up going on, and tomorrow I'm going off to the northeast on the other coastline, looking around at Durham and places like that to see what's going on there, because there you can buy properties with yields of up to 15% even. But typically I would be happy with a yield up in the north of between 8 and 10%. It's certainly a lot more than you'd get in London, and certainly a lot more than you get in the bank, of course. In the bank, you're lucky to just get 0.3%. So a lot of people are on 0.01%, which is virtually nothing. So if you can get 10 times that, that is 100 times more than you would get in the bank. And that's just the yield on the rent. That doesn't include any possible future growth. So I'll be looking around at more deals up in the north and posting them on our Facebook page if we can get some that would be of interest to you. And yeah, that's what I'll be doing. The markets, stock markets are still high. They've had a sort of a resurgence again, but still way down on where they were last year. Property market has definitely slowed down according to the Halifax, but still going up a bit. It's not in decrease. And agents report that, for the right type of properties, there's still demand. There's still a lot of people out there looking for larger family homes, maybe outside of the city centre. So it's not all doom and gloom, but it's not all good news either. So, it's a time to be careful what you're spending. And if you are falling behind, because wages are definitely falling behind, they have been for the last few years. And so if you are falling behind, then you've got to find out ways of generating more income. Now, that could be by moving your money around to get a better return, or maybe going from deposit-based money where it's guaranteed into, investment type situations where you have to invest and put your money at risk, of course, but where the returns can be much greater if you know what you're doing. So if you'd like to know more about how to invest in property, I'll put a link up to some free courses you can do. But other than that, if you're just sitting on your money in the bank and you're not even moving it from one bank to another, you are going to be suffering. Your money is going to be eaten away by ravaging inflation at least 10% a year, and the rest, because I think the real rate of inflation is much higher. Certainly food inflation is somewhere around 14% now. So there you go. You've got to make your own choices. Not everyone wants to be a landlord. Not everyone wants to invest in the stock market. But there is something in between, a deposit-based and full-out sort of stock market or property. And then you need to sort of seek to talk to a competent advisor, not someone who's just going to flog you the products that's in their bag, but a real good financial advisor if you want to look at that. So thanks for listening, and bye for now.